if you want to know what keeps people stuck or blocked or not being able to live the life they really desperately want and quite frankly deserve, I want to explain some very important things to you in this video because I don't want that to happen to you. And I just also want to give you a reference because keep in mind, people typically come to me after they have already endured years, if not decades, of therapy and all kinds of self-help work, and they have watched all kinds of videos and worked with the coaches and done the business classes and everything else that you could possibly imagine, energy healing and Reiki and sound bath and this kind of therapy and that kind of retreats and addiction centers, who knows what else. Literally, they have already bent over backwards to get help only to find out it didn't work. And then they end up with me. And then all of a sudden, things change. Things start to happen. Think why? I'm going to tell you why and how. And so, yes, for the last 12 plus years, I have been sitting with people in a very intimate, honest setting where I asked them, I said, look, if you want to sit with me and if you want to complain and blame and shame and gossip and yes, but, and you're not willing to do the work, this is not going to work, and I'm not the person to be here for that. But if you finally want to change your life, and if you finally want to understand the miracle that you are, every single human being, all of us, I've never met a person that does not have genius level potential inside of them. Never met somebody like that. So every single human being has genius level potential inside of them because God didn't create crap and he didn't start with you, me, or anybody else. So that is already a guarantee. But not everybody is willing to do the work it takes. So here's what I'm specifically meaning. And I'm just going to go very high level. And I've started to connect the dots, and now I've started to see this pattern with every single human being. The degree is always a little different, but every single human being. Why were they able to get the breakthroughs? Why were they able to get the success? Why were they able to get the transformation? Why were they able to rise to the next level exponentially quickly? Here is why. My job, okay, is to identify as fast as humanly possible, and I'm pretty damn good at it. What is it that is holding this person back? What is it that's blocking them? Where is that blind spot? What exactly is? And high level. A person is either still ruled most of the time unconsciously by their childhood programming and by their trauma and some sort of unresolved issue. And if a person stays ruled by that, very often that will lead to very difficult relationships. It will lead to them settling in life for breadcrumbs or peeling potatoes kind of life instead of being the rock star. It will make them settle for feeling like a victim instead of feeling like a winner. It causes addiction, it causes procrastination, it causes self-sabotage, it causes really bad self-esteem issues, self-confidence issues, mother wound, father wound, and many other things. So a person has a choice to either remain ruled by that programming, by the trauma, by the unresolved issues, or they get to wake up and make a decision and say, you know what, I am sick and tired of being sick and tired. I want to live a fulfilling, happy, joyful, a life worth living instead of settling for bread. And that takes a choice. And that also takes somebody like me as an example to explain to you. And I'm saying this with hopefully as much sympathy and care and compassion and empathy as possible. Because I've heard stories that I don't ever want to have to repeat or hear again in regard to trauma. So trauma is real. And it can absolutely be brutally traumatizing somebody's life. I'm not going to deny that. That's a real thing. It's a harsh thing. It's a human life thing. I've never met a person who hasn't experienced trauma, just FYI. Again, degree different with each person. There is level 10, there's level 1, and everything in between, and there's probably level 20. So I'm not taking that away from a human. But you do not have to remain the victim of what that trauma did to you. Do you really think that the purpose of that trauma was so that you stay small and stuck and sitting on the sidelines and like peeling potatoes life and settling for less? Do you really think that was the purpose of the trauma? If that's what you think, you're missing the point. You were not punished. Now, we're getting into some spiritual territory, and I don't want to get too far into this, but I promise you, as a human being, right, you are physical, you are emotional, you are mental, you are spiritual, you are psychological. There are many levels of you, and I promise you that trauma didn't happen to you. Yes, it did happen to you, but you are so much more than this trauma. You are so much bigger, stronger, greater, smarter, more intelligent, literally. I also promise you that trauma, if we want to use that as an example of what so many people stay stuck in, right? Because how is it possible? I explain to my clients who tell me, like, how do you know this is going to work? I've been to therapy for all these years. I've had all the insight. I've read all the books. I've done all this work and nothing has worked. Because just talking about the problem, talking about the trauma and then complaining about it and staying infested in the problem is not the solution. You have resources inside of you that will help you transform all of this. But guess what? That takes work. That takes you being willing and wanting to sit down and actually do the work that's required, which means you are going to be willing to get uncomfortable. You're going to be willing to learn. You're going to be willing to grow. You're going to be willing to actually, God forbid, take 5 minutes out of your busy schedule, which is a luxury very few people allow themselves to have. I get it. But to finally focus on you and to realize you deserve to be happy and fulfilled and successful. You deserve to have the relationship you dream about. You deserve to go after it. You deserve to, right? But there's a price to pay. Either way is going to be hard. That's another promise and guarantee. Either you can continue being ruled by the program, by the trauma, by all those awful experiences and what that did to you and how it shaped your personality and your character and this anxiety that might be inside of you, or this depression or procrastination, whatever it might be, imposter syndrome, perfectionism, people pleasing. And that's going to be really hard because you're just going to keep repeating the same loops. You're going to literally meet, different people, but you're going to repeat the same patterns with them. You're going to experience the same rejection. You're going to experience the same money blocks. You're going to experience the same ceiling. And that is a choice you can make, and that's hard. Or the other hard is learn the skills and the tools to get out of those loops. And that's going to take a different caliber of you. That's going to take a different level of you. That's going to take somebody who is finally willing to take a stand for you, to show up and say, okay, Susan, you told me to jump. How high? And if you can show up with that mindset and with that idea and intention and desire and commitment, no, this is not, oh, that sounds interesting. No, this isn't supposed to be interesting. If it's just interesting, we're not there yet. Unless you're willing to be invested in you. Now we can start a conversation. So this can't be, it sounds good. Maybe, hopefully one day, someday, when the kids are, then you're not ready for that. And this is going to be also hard, temporarily. Is going to push you out of your comfort zone for a little while. Is going to take a little bit of discomfort, emotional pain, looking into the basement where it might be dark with cobwebs, and it will be worth it. I promise you. And so this is beyond healing and transformation, and this is literally giving you the opportunity to finally discover the miracle that you are, which implies you are a miracle. I promise. I've never met a human being that is not a miracle. Has never happened. Nor will it ever happen. But not every human being is willing to do what it takes to find that miracle inside of you. So remember, you are a walking, talking, breathing miracle. And you have been programmed. And that's where it starts. So as a hypnotherapist, really my job is to dehypnotize, deprogram people, get rid of all the things that are not them. Because there is something inside of you that's the real you. That's the essence of you. That's like the exquisitiveness of you. But for a lot of people, that is buried with a lot of stress, a lot of trauma, a lot of unresolved issues. So what it's going to take is peeling these off. And once you peel that off, and as I said, this is not just wishing, hoping, dreaming, manifesting, praying, meditating, and wishing that, I don't know, maybe I'll have a good day today. No, this is not up to chance. This is not maybe. This is like you're either in or you're out. I will be here to hold your hand. I will be here to make sure that you do it appropriately. And I'm not here to tell people what to do. Like, please don't take this the wrong way. But I can tell you what works and what doesn't work. And if you work it this way, you're going to get these results. And if you work it that way, you're going to get these results. So please don't shoot the messenger. I didn't invent the rules. But I've been paying attention, like hardcore attention. I've been watching. And lo and behold, same thing with every human being, including in my own life. And it took me a minute to wake up. It took me a long time, quite frankly, to understand trauma, childhood programming, rules. It took me a while. And then as I look back, I'm like, wow, wait a minute. Every single human being at some form, shape is stuck in a loop, in a pattern, and often has trying to convince me they've done everything and tried everything. Yes, and I love and appreciate and I worship that about you. But guess what? If you are given help that is incomplete, if you're given tools that are insufficient, this is not going to work. So this has nothing to do with you being broken or there's not enough willpower or that you're somehow weak or no. You have given tools that don't work. So how could this possibly work? And you can't fix what you don't understand. And you can't change if you haven't been taught how to change. And most importantly, if nobody has explained the system to you, the conscious and the subconscious, how they work together, plus the superconscious. As human beings, there's so many parts of us. So Carl Jung is famous for saying, until you make conscious what's in your subconscious, it will continue to control and rule your life. And that's my point. So this work is all about being willing to look at the subconscious, being willing to, what is it that is controlling your life? What is it that is causing you to sit on the sidelines while everybody else out there is running around succeeding? What is it that is causing you to settle for less? What is it that is causing you to tiptoe around? What is it that is causing you to fear and self-doubt and phobias and who knows what else? And I promise you, it is not a lack of willpower or motivation or self-discipline. That's like your cute little traditional self-help motivational speech, and it doesn't work because you're not lacking that. You're lacking somebody sitting you down and explaining, look, this is how it works. And if you're not willing to face the unconscious on the inside, no problem. It will face you on the outside. So either you get to do this deep inner work, which is a privilege of the highest, if you ask me, or the work will be done for you. And then when you go out there in the real world, you might be faced with, some inconvenient obstacles. So again, either way is going to be hard. I wish I could tell you the easy route. Either way is going to be hard. This is called the human life. And when the only pleasant invitation that I can give you is every single client that has ever experienced this work always said, man, that was worth it. This is worth it. I should have done this a long time ago. And that is music to my ears, because I agree. You deserve to discover the genius that is inside of you, and I promise you will find it. Because that is when life starts to suddenly get sweeter and more fulfilling, and life worth living. And again, please know this is something I hear every day, all the time. By the time people come to me, I'll hear something like, Susan, you're my last resort. I have done it all. What makes you think this is going to work? And then, of course, they have super high expectations, as they should. I want you to have high expectations because something's going to happen here. As long as you're willing. Again, remember, this is not easy, but it's worth it. So this is not therapizing people, diagnosing people, pathologizing people, blaming the past, blaming the trauma. I'm not saying the trauma isn't responsible and the past isn't responsible. Oh, yes, it is. And so is the programming. Absolutely. We've got to find who is responsible for this. Yes, that's a good start. But staying in that, just blaming the past, and that's not a good idea, because that's what keeps people stuck in victim mindset. Now we got to get to that next level. And if you're ready for that, then we can make something amazing happen here. I'm here for you. See you soon.